to our service today. And we have an opening inspirational song that's going to be brought to us by our guest musicians, Brett and Ashley Freshour. Born in Lawton, Oklahoma, American singer-songwriter Brett and Ashley Freshour incorporate influences from a wide range of artists spanning from Tom Petty, Aerosmith, the Beatles, and Prince to Blink 182, Ed Sheeran, Post Malone, Eminem, and many more. With little emphasis on staying with the genre, Brett and Ashley make music that features elements from various tastes and styles. So without further ado,
all right, this is an original song called I Feel Alive. To be at, and whether or not you belong with me, and if not, why at times do we feel so alive? Universe seems to imply, and I do believe, but I don't know why. I get a feeling deep inside that you and I feels right. And you know what I'm like, and how to fight you. Know how I am a danger to myself and everyone around me without you. So take my hand and don't let go. Understand, I need you to know that I need you. I breathe you to survive. I need you to know that I need you. I breathe you to survive, to feel alive. I feel alive. I feel alive. Step inside at and you turn and fake a smile and say it's okay, but I know when you're lying. Smile and start to sing our temporary suffering. It remedies with melodies of promise, dreams. And you know what I'm like now. To fight you, know how I am a danger to myself and everyone around me without you. don't let go. Understand, I need you to know that I need you. I breathe you to survive. Feel alive. I feel alive. I feel alive. And the past will bring us down. The more we give in to its plague, at last we have found all we'll ever need. So take my hand and don't let go. Understand, I need you to know that I need you. I breathe you to survive. Feel alive. Take my hand and don't let go. Understand, I need you to know that I need you. I breathe you to survive. Feel alive. I feel alive. I feel alive. I feel alive. Thank you so much.
Alive now. So here's how it's going to go from here on out. We're going to do our statement of being. We're going to reflect in thought. And our opening prayer is going to be given this morning by Meg Gray. And then we'll have more inspirational music. So, statement of being. We'll say this together. Our contemplative reflection thought this morning is, what if fear isn't the enemy, but a guidepost toward deeper understanding?
Coming back to this place of love, peace, serene, calm energy, where I know I am one with all energy that I call God, Spirit, Divine Right Love. God is love. Just as I know this truth for myself, I know this big T truth for all of us here in the center and out in the world. There is only one. I know and believe wholeheartedly. I know the complete calm energy comes.
Where are you going?
Denise's message today. I know she speaks her truth with everything in her, as her, through her, shining her light to all of us here and online. I am grateful for this place of pure love, peace, and calm energy. I am grateful to be awake, aware, and alive right here, right now. And I release these words to that higher law that says, yes, always. And together we say, and so it is.
We have our next musical inspiration with Brett and Ashley, Fresh Hour.
Check. Mic test. Something funny can buy all the wants in the sky, but honey, all I need is you to see inside if you love me too. It ain't about the clothes you wear or the beauty in your flowing hair. For me, it's your elegance, the majestic glow in your presence. So be good to me, being good to you. Some say can and some say won't and some can do, but most don't. There isn't a thing that I would do to keep myself from falling into heaven. Holding you, yeah, heaven. Holding you. Some say can and some say won't and some can do, but most don't. There isn't a thing that I would do to keep myself from falling into heaven. Holding you, yeah, heaven. Holding you. Some say can and some say won't and some can do, but most don't. There isn't a thing that I would do to keep myself from falling into heaven. Into heaven. Holding you, yeah, heaven. Into heaven. Holding you. So be good to me, being good to you. Now some say can and some say won't and some can do, but most don't. There isn't a thing that I would do to keep myself from falling into heaven, into heaven, holding you. Yeah, heaven, into heaven, holding you. Some say can and some say won't and some can do, but most don't. There isn't a thing that I would do to keep myself from falling into heaven, into heaven, holding you. Yeah, heaven, into heaven, holding you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And thank you so much. All right. Our guest speaker this morning is our own Denise Kaku, practitioner Emerita. We're so proud of her, and she's going to give us a wonderful talk this morning. Fierce clarity when fear becomes a compass. Is that right? Yes. All right. Denise.
Green piece of paper. Oh. I just want to be sure I had all the materials I needed in front of me. It's okay. So, yes. Thank you. So this whole month, we have been talking about fear as a motivator and guide. How many people felt any sense or degree of fear this week? Anybody? Anybody? Guess what? Welcome to the human race. We have multiple emotions that we experience every day in every way, from mad, sad, glad, to afraid. So what I have been incubating and marinating with when Reverend Robert asked me to give this talk was to really pay extra attention to when fear arises in me, because every speaker can only talk from their own experience and their own opinions and beliefs. And as a spiritual coach and a leadership consultant, one of the things that I practice on a daily basis is my own self-awareness and also observing the energetic presence of others as I go through my day. So this month, Fear and the Furious is our August theme for our conversations and talks. The first week, Reverend Robert talked about anger as a force for change. And we can marshal our anger in constructive ways, yeah? The second week was fierce clarity. That fear often helps us get clear. So this week, we're diving more into not the personal, but the collaborative aspects of fear. And this talk is really about being in the present presence of fear, individually and as a community. Because guess what? There is always something that generates a fear reaction. And it may be personal, but it also could be collectively a group experience, like moving to a new location in the fear of the unknown, or our senior minister after 6 years is leaving the pulpit and going on to his next great adventure, and we will be, quote, leaderless temporarily. So fear of the unknown, fear of change, fear of success, or fear of failure. Those are kind of the major buckets of fear that we could probably group our moments of fear into if we're consciously aware of what degree of fear am I sitting with. So in our Science of Mind monthly magazine, there are daily readings. The August 5th reading was two acronyms that I've never heard before, because fear, usually we've heard the one, false evidence appearing real. That's a common acronym for fear. But here's another one. Forget everything and run away. So that's the flight response, yeah? Today, we're going to talk about face everything and rise. So that fear acronym invites us to entertain the idea that when fear arises in us, that perhaps it's a guidepost to understanding. And let me give you some degrees of fear for you to think about before I dive into the 3 elements or features of this talk. Panic, anxiety, scared, terrified, startled, confused, horrified, frantic, stunned, uneasy, tentative, discomfort, doubtful, dissatisfied, frightened, shaky, uneasy, alarmed, flustered, uptight, bothered, perplexed, apprehensive, disturbed, agitated, worried, or overwhelmed. Is that enough words to talk about fear and how it exhibits in our somatic body, the feeling? So fear is not just I'm scared. It could be I'm a little upset, or I'm feeling uncomfortable. Those are tip-offs that our body is telling us something is generating within us that is giving us a fear response. We bless that, because that just opens the door on our pathway of life to become more of our divine right, our divine gift that we were born with, which is to know the truth, the whole truth of what we are. So here's what happens. Holmes defined fear. Ernest Holmes is our founder. He says in the Science of Mind textbook on page 156, what's fear? Fear is nothing more or less than the negative use of faith. Faith misplaced. So from the Science of Mind perspective, we recognize that fear is not rooted in external circumstances, although what's the situation or what someone said or what's happening out in front of us usually triggers a fear response. But it's in the creative power of our own beliefs that fear rises up. Because it's the meaning or the belief or the opinion within us that generates that response, not the external circumstance. So I would challenge us to to notice when you are getting some kind of a fear reaction, to put your attention not out on the circumstance, but inward, asking yourself a question. What is the higher truth here? What is Spirit calling me to pay attention to? I think the aspect of fear that is very difficult to catch ourselves on is when we get hijacked by fear. Anybody just get off balance or stunned and then react immediately without thinking? That happens often because our ego is trying to protect us. And so that fear response immediately just pops up. And I think the spiritual pathway that we are on is calling us to listen and notice that response, that physical response welling up in us, but not get hijacked by the situation. Well, how do we do that? Because a fear reaction is not weakness, and it's certainly not failure. It is definitely a call to a spiritual reaction, which is this gentle call to realign with compassion and curiosity, who you truly are, which is a spiritual being having a human experience. So compassion, curiosity, and patience are the aspects that live within our divine response when fear bubbles up. So there's a quote, I think it's, let me get the page out. I really like this quote. And this is from Elizabeth Gilbert from the book Big Magic, Creative Living Beyond Fear. And she says, "It seems to me that the less I fight my fear, the less it fights back. If I can relax, fear relaxes too." So think about it. When a fear reaction bubbles up, how do you choose not to be hijacked with a reactive immediate response? One way is to just stop and breathe. Any kind of churning that pops up in your body, stop, pause, and breathe. From there, we get to kind of do a little reset. And one of the ways that I relax and calm myself, and I just learned this yesterday at a meeting, is Yahoo. You always have other options. That's an acronym, Yahoo. You always have other options. So the fear response in us, we don't have to move into it. We can choose a different option, a different way of using that reaction as a guidepost for deeper understanding. So when we walk alongside the presence of fear and not run away from it, some things happen that translate or transmutate something deeper in us. And one of them is compassion. That compassion is something that can be deepened in terms of when we feel threatened or scared. We can sit with the discomfort or the unease and not rush to fix it or get comfortable or solve something. Just practicing compassion can create a deeper understanding and perhaps even a self-awareness and acceptance of a greater possibility and a more connected attachment to the divine truth, which is we are all loving, creative human beings. We were born with it. It's in our nature. And when we move alongside our fear in a way that we can make friends with it and just be with it compassionately, there's nothing that needs to be done. Truth will reveal itself in its own time. So the call around stepping into fear is to practice curiosity, practice patience, and deeper compassion for oneself. and perhaps even compassion for whatever circumstance or situation is out there that may have triggered the response in the first place. We create communities of safety and empathy and sacred listening in this community because we practice spiritually ways of being with each other, honoring our divine nature. So I know that part of coming together and being with each other just automatically deepens our sensitivity to one another and creates greater understanding. We don't have to, acceptance is not the same as agreeing, but we can certainly accept each other's individual stories and journeys around dealing with fear. We don't have to solve it or fix it. We just want to be together in loving support and compassion for one another. Knowing that fear is a human experience that we deal with all the time, I think it's important to remind ourselves that pausing and breathing is an important practice, because then we don't say things we regret later, or perhaps we get real stupid and stick our foot in our mouth in a way that's inappropriate, or whatever a fear response might be that we might be ashamed of or embarrassed about later. Just pausing. The minute you feel that kind of fear response, come alongside it, befriend it, and you can sit with it in a way that it will reveal itself in terms of deeper understanding. So when I was a little girl, I was in the backyard, and on the sidewalk, a snake went across. Scared the heck out of me. I ran back in the house. To this day, snakes kind of freak me out. And I thought, well, I understand where that fear of snakes came from. And I can also befriend it in a different way. So now I'm looking at snakes as, what is the value they have in nature's natural order of things? They serve in some way in our environment. I know to be wary of walks in hot weather, not to disturb a sleeping rattlesnake, to be respectful of all life forms. But at least realizing now where that fear came from, I can diminish that fear by taking different actions and understanding that there is a way to move into more compassion around loving all creatures, great and small. So in the presence of fear, there are 3 elements to this particular talk, which is about listening without being hijacked. Number 2, deepening our capacity for compassion. And finally, it invites creative growth. So when the future is unknown, or perhaps we're courageously stepping out on a new venture that we've never done before, we ask for guidance, we sit in patience, and wait for that creative growth and inspiration, whatever that may be. So this reading that I'm going to share with you makes the point that sometimes patience is a virtue, that we tend to rush things or run away from things, and sometimes waiting patiently, like we do with meditation, may be a useful part of generating that creative growth. And this is from Pema Chodron's book, The Places That Scare You, a guide to fearlessness in different times. So she says, in meditation, we discover our inherent restlessness. Sometimes we get up and leave. Sometimes we sit there, but our bodies wiggle and squirm, and our minds go far away. This can be so uncomfortable that we feel it's impossible to stay. Anybody had that experience with meditation? This is too hard. I can't sit still that long. Or I got to get going. Yes. Well, then she says, this feeling can teach us not just about ourselves, but what it is to be human. All of us derive security and comfort from the imaginary world of memories and fantasies and plans. We really don't want to stay with the nakedness of our present experience. It goes against the grain to stay present. These are the times when only gentleness and a sense of humor can give us the strength to settle down. So whenever we wander off, we gently encourage ourselves to stay and settle down. Are we experiencing restlessness? Stay. Discursive mind? Stay. Are fear and loathing out of control? Stay. Aching knees and throbbing back? Stay. What's for lunch? Stay. What am I doing here? Stay. I can stand this another minute. I can't stand this another minute. Stay. This is how to cultivate steadfastness. So in the midst of any kinds of upset, fear reactions, collective fear, maybe there's group fear, or maybe you get into a place of panic in a group because the discussion has hijacked you somewhere. If it concerns the future and the unknown, there's something you can do about that. You can move into a place of stillness and quiet. Pause and breathe. And listen for divine guidance. Or ask the question, is this really true? Because we know everything situationally, circumstances, news headlines, whatever's happening out there in the world is temporary. It's life passing through. So don't get too attached to anything because it's gone in a heartbeat. And the next hour, the next minute, tomorrow is a new day. And we get to reinvent ourselves every moment with every breath. Whether we choose to or not, we're changing. So my challenge to you is, can you walk alongside some fear response this week? And I would invite you, when the offering basket comes around, to take one of these slips of paper. It's a handout I made last night. It says small steps every day. Notice one area in your life where fear is holding you back. Rather than trying to eliminate it, experiment with small, courageous actions alongside it. Maybe it's having a vulnerable conversation, or trying something new, or setting a boundary. Trust that you don't need to be fearless to move forward, just willing. So that is a mind to do challenge invitation for the week. Take one if you want and see what emerges. So I'd like to ask all of us after the prayer to say an affirmative statement around this talk. But I want you to remember that fear is a temporary emotion, just like mad, sad, and glad emotions come and go. And that if we honor fear by not running away, but by listening deeply, it's a guidepost that helps us go deeper into our own patience, compassion, and connection to greater livingness, to feeling more alive. Because fear is a natural response, just as being angry or being happy or even being sad. They make up the full array of our beingness as physical beings on this human journey. So think about it this week. If you have any of those fear emotions, just bless them. and say, thank you, universe, for giving me an opportunity to do a spiritual practice of pausing and breathing and being curious to say, I wonder what this is all about. And out of it comes an answer and greater understanding. And out of it comes an opportunity to go deeper into discovering more of your calling, who you are, what you are made for, and why you are on this planet at this time, in this form, to be the greatest version of you possible. And you can do Yahoo! What does that mean? You always have other options, so we can choose again. And awareness is a powerful thing when we point our mind to being aware of the fear response. It creates awareness, which moves us into choice, which then moves us into transformation. And it's such a powerful, powerful formula, because we're always changing and growing in spite of our own fight, freeze, flight reactions. The universe has a tendency to wrestle us into place in some way, even when we're fighting what we ought to be doing or what our calling is that we are resisting. So just sit with that idea this week and have fun with it. Play with it. Keep your judgment outside of the room and allow yourself to just be in that place of curiosity. Deeper understanding will come, and you will be a greater you at the end of the week. I promise. So with that, I'd like to wrap up by saying that fear is an amazing emotion with a full array of expression. And we get to practice through our own spiritual knowingness how to express and be with fear in a way that serves us. Just as anger can constructively serve us, so can fear. It is a guidepost that helps us live more fully, and it's a blessing. So please join me in a closing prayer. We are knowing the most magnificent connection to Source right now, right here. It is our divine inheritance. It is the intelligence, the wisdom, the love, and the compassion of spirit that is inborn in each one of us. We are that divine emanation that continually creates, grows, and expands. We delight in the discovery of who we are and what we are becoming, for that is Spirit's nature. All situations, people, and circumstances are temporary and pass through our lives. They are small tests for us in terms of conscious awareness of our response to life, and that we move to a higher plane of loving compassion, discernment, and spiritual connection to all situations, all living things, because that's what the way we are made. That is our nature. So we choose that higher path, and we learn to stop in the midst of being reactive and move to a higher plane of love, compassion, and curiosity. That serves us well on our spiritual journey on this path called life. It is a blessing, and we are multiplied by it tenfold because we dedicate ourselves to this learning, this philosophy, and this growing of ourself into a greater human being. So I bless our time together, our beautiful uplifting music, and the inspiring message of Ernest Holmes, which is change your thinking, change your life. So simple a statement, but so challenging and hard to do at times. So I just bless this time and release it with joy and celebration. And if you agree with any of this, please affirm it with me by saying, "And so it is." So with that, I would invite you to say our affirmation a couple times. I meet fear with curiosity, compassion, and courage. I meet fear with curiosity, compassion, and courage. All right, amen to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. I love the affirmation that comes out of that. I always have options. All right, so now, as Denise likes to say, we have an option for another spiritual practice, which is the sharing of what we have to give. And we have an affirmation of abundance that goes along with this. So if you would repeat it with me. I recognize the presence of God within as the source of my abundance. Out of my abundance consciousness flows everything I could desire in life. With gratitude and thanksgiving, I now participate in the flow of uninterrupted abundance. This prosperous experience is evidence of my abundance consciousness. So we have ways to participate. You can mail in a check to our post office box, 804 in Monterey. You can text to give. And you can go online to our website and donate also. Also through our newsletter. Or someone's coming around with a basket for you to bless. All right. Thank you. So for our Facebook and YouTube viewers, please join us next week when we have our guest speaker next week is going to be Reverend Kathy Sharmer. And she's shared with us before, and her talk title is going to be Mobilizing Anger. How can we transform our anger into compassionate action for the collective good? Wonderful. So we are so blessed to have our Facebook and YouTube viewers, and we wish you a wonderful week ahead, and thank you.